Today in Granny's Kitchen we're going to make an alternative haggis. This one doesn't contain any heart, liver, lungs or sheep's stomach. This one is actually fairly straightforward. It's a bit of a cheat really. Lots of people have been asking, can you make haggis? And I thought, there is no way I'm going to be working with suet and sheep's stomach and hearts and lungs. To be honest, you can't actually beat just buying a tin of Grant's Premium Haggis. And I'm not sponsored in any way, but this is fantastic haggis. It's actually made from lamb. I'm actually going to make mine from beef mince and pork. And again, the hands have been scrubbed because I need to get right in there and mix all the ingredients together. Now, this recipe requires 1 medium onion, finely chopped, and I did this in my food processor. And to that, I'm going to add 60 grams of fine pin oatmeal. Then I'm going to add the pork mince and the beef mince. A really good shaking of salt and pepper, because haggis, as you know, is quite spicy. And you need quite a good bit of salt and pepper. And the spices, I'm using half a teaspoonful of allspice. Don't get mixed up with mixed spice, which is a different thing. This is ground allspice. I'm also putting in half a teaspoonful of nutmeg. It's much like the sausage spices. And ground coriander, you need 1 teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon of ground coriander. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of Worcester sauce. And this recipe is really easy. And what I've done on the Facebook group is given you alternative ways of cooking. So that's my tablespoonful of Worcester sauce. I also need beef stock. And I've just used half a Callo organic beef cube. But if you have some beef stock lying around, by all means use that. And I'm only going to just put in a little splash of that. Now, obviously, if you want to go and buy the sheep's stomach and the heart, the liver and the lungs, the process is just exactly the same. You could make this haggis very, very quickly. I'm actually going to do this one in the air fryer. You can cook it in the oven, or you can cook it in the slow cooker if you wish. So basically, all I'm doing is working all those ingredients through. And then I'm going to put it in a dish like this, put it in the air fryer for 20 minutes at 180. And then I'm going to turn it over into another dish, then cook it again for another 15 minutes or so. So I've worked in all the meat and the spices and the Worcester sauce, salt and pepper, all of the bits and pieces here into that mixture. And even with this mixture, you could make little alternative haggis balls. So take your dish. This fits nicely into my air fryer. I didn't actually need very much of the stock, just really a splash to bind this together. I'm going to flatten that out in here. Now, obviously, you won't get the idea of stabbing into the sheep's stomach bag and the haggis bursting out when you make this recipe, but it works very, very well. So it's going to be popped into the air fryer for 20 minutes at 180. And then we'll revisit it once that 20 minutes is up. Okay, I've taken this alternative haggis from the air fryer, and now I've got to turn it over. Luckily, I've got another dish exactly the same. So I'm just going to place that on top and carefully turn that over. And then it goes back in the air fryer for another 15 minutes at 180. Start peeling lots of potatoes. Now, once the potatoes are peeled, I would cut them into fairly small pieces because I'm going to put them in my steamer, which is there. Normally, when I'm doing this, I'll have other vegetables in the other basket. But because I'm going to need a lot of potatoes today because the family is coming for tea, I'll probably need both baskets for all the different potatoes. So just carry on peeling all your potatoes and cutting them into small pieces. As you can see, I've kind of quartered them. I've made them into manageable size pieces to go into my steamer. And I like the steamer because it doesn't waterlog them, but you can easily boil them in a pan. There's not a problem. So there's no seasoning or anything goes in, just 2 layers of potatoes. As I say, normally when it's just 2 of us, I use 1 layer for potatoes, 1 layer for cabbage and other veg. So I've filled water into my steamer. That's the first layer going in the second layer of potatoes, because I'll be making 2 batches, one with plant-based butter and oat milk and the other with dairy milk and butter. So these will take about half an hour to steam, and I do love the steamer because nothing boils over, it cooks automatically, it switches off if I've forgotten about it, so it is a handy gadget. I do have quite a lot of gadgets. Okay, so this is the top one going in, and I'll put the lid on, switch on, and I'll turn that to 30 minutes and just leave that to cook away. Okay, from the steamer, I've taken roughly a portion of potatoes and I'm going to rice these into the pot. But before I do that, I'm going to put in a little oat milk because this is my non-dairy version. And we also need a little non-dairy butter, just a knob of butter for that number of potatoes. And then we're going to add in some white pepper and some salt, because obviously in the potatoes in the steamer haven't been salted. So I'm going to heat this milk, butter and seasoning on the hob just until that gets hot and the butter melts. Before, I've always had some difficulty trying to rice straight into the cooker, so what I'm going to do is just rice this into another dish first of all. With the potato ricer, just gradually add your potatoes. You get a good few in at a time, as you can see. This is a big industrial one, and it really is strong. And I'm just going to do that. And you can see it's beautifully riced, those potatoes. And it makes lovely, smooth, perfect mash. I'll never go back to a potato masher now, although I will be using that for the carrots and turnip. Okay, so this is roughly a portion of the potatoes. And the beauty of this as well, if I've got people coming for a meal, I can have all these riced ready to go, just ready to add to the milk mixture later on. So I'm now going to add a little at a time and keep stirring it to get that perfect smooth mash. So just gradually add the potato. And again, if it's a little bit dry, I can always add a little bit more milk. Just keep adding the riced potatoes to the mash. So you can see it's easier if you have a separate container for the riced potatoes rather than trying to do it straight into the pot. It's really quite difficult doing it that way. And again, the seasoning and the amount of butter and milk is really entirely up to you. But you can afford to put in quite a good bit to make it nice and smooth. And as you can see, that's very, very smooth now. If you're doing it for a burnt supper, you probably just use a potato scoop and put a couple on your plate. Today I'm going to make some root mash, and especially for Burns night, I've got 1 turnip or swede, whatever you want to call it, and I actually bought it in 2 halves because I'm not very good at getting a knife through something that size. And to that, I'm going to add some mashed carrots. So basically, I'm going to prepare all the vegetables, and it's similar to the mashed potato. Once it's all steamed, it'll be, added to with some, maybe a knob of butter, a little bit of vegetable oil, and some salt and pepper. So first of all, I'm going to prepare all the veg. So with your carrots, obviously lightly scrape them all with your peeler and top and tail them. Yeah, in Scotland, we talk about turnip, and it's really neeps. It's a famous dish, isn't it? Haggis, neeps and tatties. I don't know where the name neeps has come from. Some of these outer bits off because sometimes that's a bit stringy. Okay, but obviously I've got a lot of turnip chopped up, or neeps as you want to call it, And what I've done is I've tried to put most of the turnip in the bottom part of the steamer, and in the top part, I'll just put the rest of the veg. You see, I've just chopped the carrots roughly. They don't really need to be very thin because they'll all be mashed up after they've been cooking for half an hour. Right, so my 2-tier steamer's back on again. You don't need a steamer. You can do it in a pan of hot water. But I filled it up again with water, and I'm going to put it on for about 30 minutes and just leave that to steam away nicely.